Right, to start with, I hate filming myself. And I hate filming myself. So this is probably going to be really awkward and shit. But, well, I can't think of any better way to do it. I did try to film while I was driving along, but it's just, you just get too much wind noise and road noise, and even though it's not that noisy in here, when you're actually sat here, on the camera for some reason it picks it up, so that didn't go very well. So, we're going to try it in here. And there's probably going to be loads of edited bits and stuff where I've messed something up, or just waffled on about nothing interesting, so I'll apologise for all the random cuts and edits that are going to be in this, but I'm sure most people won't mind. I'm going to answer this in two separate kind of bits. First of all, I'll just explain exactly what I do for a living, just so that, if people purely are just curious, they just want to know what my job is, then they can find out pretty quickly without having to sit through the entire video. And then after that, I'll explain in more detail about how I've got to this point, just for people who are genuinely interested. What do I do for a living? I write computer software. It's software aimed at IT people, so if you work in an office or whatever, or anywhere pretty much, you probably log onto a computer with a user account and access files and stuff on servers. Somebody obviously has to set them up, and they're the IT admins, the IT people that work for that company. So I write software aimed at those people, because I used to work in IT myself. So yeah, so that's kind of the basic explanation. I run my own company, which is just me at the moment. I do it all from home, and I write software, put it on my website, and then whoever wants it buys it. Simple as that, really. So, what have I done to get to this point that I'm at now? Well, to get to the point of being able to sell the software and make money from it. I guess I'll just start with me leaving school and explain kind of what I've done since then, really. Left school at 16, didn't go to college or university or anything like that. The first job I had was an apprenticeship in just general office admin work. So really boring stuff, just like photocopying, answering the phone, writing letters, boring stuff like that. And that was basically just to get some money, because I hated school, so I thought I didn't want to go to college. I'd rather just go and start making some money somewhere, even though it's a very little amount of money that you make in an apprenticeship, but it was better than nothing. So I did that for about 2 months, and I was really into skateboarding at the time. And there was a skate park. This is relevant, and it sounds a bit of a tangent, but there was a skate park next to the place where I worked. So one lunchtime, went out on my skateboard at the skate park near where I worked, and broke 3 bones in my foot. So I had about 2 months off work, something like that. I can't remember. It was quite a while ago. With the broken foot, and then just really didn't want to go back. Like, that feeling when it's a Monday morning or whatever, or it's Sunday night, sorry, and you don't want to go back to work. Kind of that feeling, but times 100, because I've been off for like a month or whatever. So I really didn't want to go back, and I didn't go back. Basically, I just told them that I wasn't going to come back. So then I was basically without a job for probably a couple of months, something like that. And then got another apprenticeship in IT, which is kind of how I got started in the whole IT business. I was at that place for about 2 years, I think. Yeah, just under 2 years. And they taught me an awful lot. It was just a small company that kind of supported other people's networks. Kind of for other small companies. Obviously they don't have their own IT people, so they kind of outsource it to this company that I worked at. And yeah, I learnt a lot there, really enjoyed it. Started sort of teaching myself stuff in my own time because I found it quite interesting. But bear in mind, this isn't programming, this is just IT. I guess some people might think they're kind of the same thing, but they're really not. So yeah, so I did that for 2 years, then the company went bust, so I had to get another job. And I got another job, which I only stayed at for a couple of months, and then got another job, again in IT support, and kind of stayed there for, I think, 5 or 6 years. So that brought me all the way up to the point where I left and started my own company. Now, to get onto the programming side of things, it wasn't just a case of, one day I'm working in IT and the next day I decide I want to go and learn programming or whatever. I started learning to program when I was about 17 or 18, and I gave up because I found it too difficult, to be honest. Twice, I think 2 or 3 times, I sort of started it for a few months and then just gave up. I didn't really have any kind of purpose for it. I just found it interesting. I just wanted to see what I could make. So I kind of kept it up in my spare time. After a while, got a little bit better at it. Like every time I gave up and then sort of started again, obviously I'd be starting from a little bit further on. So I slowly started to get the hang of it. After probably, we're talking like a couple of years now. But again, this isn't kind of doing it all the time. This is just every now and then when I could be bothered. I started to make programs that would help me in my day job as an IT admin. And eventually, I mean, this is not like a kind of, it wasn't a conscious thing like right now I'm going to write software to help IT people. I just sort of started writing it for myself, and then eventually sort of realised, other IT people might find some of these useful, so I started putting them on a website, gave them away for free. And I think the first sort of proper program that I wrote for other IT people, I think something like, probably like 5,000 people downloaded it in about 6 months or something like that, which is not a lot really for software. But then I just sort of thought, well, if I was charging 20 quid per download or whatever, you wouldn't get 5,000 people downloading it because it's not free. But I thought, I was getting a lot of good feedback on it. People were pretty happy with it, so I thought maybe I should start charging for some of them. So the next sort of proper program that I wrote, I charged, I think it was $49. So in our money, that's about 30 quid, something like that, 25 quid, 30 quid. And sold the first one in December 2010. I think it was November or December 2010. And I remember being so grateful to the first person who bought it, because I didn't really think I was ever going to make any money from it. It kind of seemed a bit too good to be true, to be honest. I remember I got the £50 or the $50, sorry, into it. The way it works, like another company handles the payments for me, and then once a month they send me the sort of that month's sales, basically, so that I don't have to handle people's credit cards and bank details and stuff myself. It's just easier. So it kind of sits in their bank for a month, basically. And the first month I was thinking, is this actually going to happen? Am I actually going to get, I think it was something like 100 quid or £150, something like that I'd made that first month. And I remember just kind of thinking, am I actually going to get paid this, or is this kind of, are they just going to, are they just making up the fact that I've sold it and stuff like that? But no, I did get paid it, and it just kind of built up from there, really. It just kind of kept going up and up. I think the first month I made, say, a couple of £100, or less than that even. And then the next month, maybe 300 quid. Next month, maybe 300 quid again, and the next month, 400 quid. Whatever. It's really gradually gone up over a period of about 3 years. There's been certain points where, if I've released a new program that's turned out to be pretty popular, then obviously within sort of a month or two of releasing it, people start finding out about it, and then it starts bringing in more money. So there's been some points where it's gone up by a sort of noticeable amount each month, but most of the time it just kind of gradually increases. And I still kind of, even 3 years in, I still kind of keep thinking, it's going to die off soon. Most of the people that want software will have bought it by now, and then there's not going to be many more people that want to buy it. But no, so far that's not happened. It's just kind of kept going up. So it's great. I'm happy, but I'm still kind of wondering when it's just going to run out. But maybe that's just me being negative. But I guess as long as I keep writing new software, then it's not going to be too much of an issue. But so once I started selling some programs, and making 50 quid, 100 quid a month or whatever from them, I was still working my day job as IT admin at this point. So I'd just kind of do programming as and when I felt like it, just in my spare time, which was kind of hard to balance. Once I started doing it a bit more, it was quite tiring working 2 jobs, obviously. Although the programming didn't really feel like a proper job, because I was still just doing it when I wanted. But I'd often, I'd come home from work at 5 o'clock, or I'd get home at 6 o'clock, start programming and be working on that until 2 in the morning. and then so you'd get like 5 hours sleep, get up for work. But that wasn't it wasn't like a constant thing. It was pretty rare that I'd be just programming for like days on end. It'd normally just be like once or twice a week. So yeah, did that slowly, got more and more customers, and gradually over a period of about 2 years, started to make more from selling the programs than I was from my day job, which I was already fairly well paid for my age, I think, in my day job. So now having essentially double the income was really nice. And there was, I say that was like 2 years in. So I was 21, 22, something like that at the time. No, 23 probably. And I kept thinking, I could just quit my day job, because everybody starts to hate their day job after a while, don't they? Even if you find some parts of it interesting, there's always bits that you don't like. So I was considering quitting for quite a long time. But I just kept thinking that, there's nothing to say that next month I'm going to still keep making money from the programs. I was thinking that it's probably going to die off soon, and it would be stupid to throw away a job, especially with the whole recession thing happening. It'd be stupid to just kind of quit a proper employed job just to start on my own kind of thing. So I held off for a long time, until probably like nearly 3 years in. So for the previous sort of year at that point, I'd been making consistently more every month from the software sales than I had from my day job. So I thought, right, now I'm just going to quit, because I was getting pretty fed up at work. I thought, right, I'm just going to quit and just live off the software sales, which I thought I'll probably end up regretting at some point, but thankfully I haven't. It's just gone better and better, which has surprised me, but I'm not going to complain. So yeah, I quit my day job, started a company. So up until this point I'd just been what's called a sole trader, where you're just trading as yourself rather than a limited company or anything like that. So yeah, just kind of built up from there really. Obviously now I can spend more time on the programming, but I don't know, sometimes I'll have weeks where I don't do any programming at all. I still reply to customers' emails and things like that every single day, but there'll be weeks where I just think, I want a week off, so I have a week off, which is really nice to be able to do. But recently I've started to try and put a lot more time into the actual programming stuff. So that's it. I've probably done a pretty terrible job of explaining it all, and there'll probably be lots of really random like cuts and things between shots, but whatever. We are planning to do a few more. I say we, I know Sai has not really been in many of the videos yet, but he will be a lot more in the future. We are planning to do a lot more videos that are kind of this nature, rather than just here's a car, look at it kind of thing, which is what most of our videos have been already. Is just kind of just normal car videos. The reason we kind of started this channel was to make like realistic, like honest videos that kind of show the work that goes into getting a supercar or whatever, rather than just here's a supercar. So that we'll do more stuff on this kind of side of things. Think kind of like Rob Dahm, if anyone's familiar with his videos, which probably a lot of people that are watching these are. Kind of similar to his videos, like more sort of business and kind of, I guess, money making, you could say, rather than just the car. So hopefully we'll have a lot more videos like this soon. Hopefully they'll be a bit more interesting than this one, because this has probably been pretty boring, but hopefully I'll get a bit more comfortable with just talking to a camera. But yeah, if anyone's got any questions, if I've not really explained things very well, which is pretty likely, then just leave them in the comments and try not to be too insulting. Just any questions or anything that you want me to explain in more detail, or anything that you'd like to see of this car, or things about this car. Like I've mentioned previously, I'll make a video explaining the running costs and the tyres and fuel and insurance, everything like that. But if there's anything else that you want to know about the car, from a kind of real world perspective rather than kind of showing off or whatever. Because that's the other thing, it's quite hard to talk about money and nice cars and stuff without appearing like you're showing off. And that's really not what this channel's about, so I hope it doesn't come across that way. But I think some of it probably will, but it's not intentional. We just, like I say, we want it to just be kind of honest and realistic. With that in mind, I'll also be doing a review of this car once I've got absolutely everything sorted so that it's sort of as it should be, just from a normal driver's point of view, rather than, because every review you see normally is Top Gear or whatever, somebody who's test driving cars for a living, whereas I think more real world, kind of honest, normal people doing reviews is probably more useful to people, but we'll see. Yeah, I can't think of anything else. If there's any questions, leave them in the comments. That's it for now.